Oh, hello. I'm Commander Thorn, commander of the 9th Sentient MedCorps, only on Australia Colossal Gaming, #1 Star Wars RP server in Australia. Come, let's take a walk. I'd like to welcome you to MedCorps. This is Training Part 1, Mental Conditions, with Commander Thorn. #1 on our list, amnesia. Amnesia was a mental condition, often brought on by a traumatic event that resulted in memory loss or some sort of another. The individual affected might remember certain things such as how to perform tasks or speak, but have no or little memory of the personal details of one's life, such as names, occupation, or family. Exposure to sights, sounds, or other sensory information containing details from one's past might serve as a trigger to overcome the condition. Bitter winter was the basic name for a disease also known as Breckenwinthen on Karelia. This affliction struck the elderly and created holes in their memories. Two Bancher and Karelian smuggler caught this disease during retirement and slowly lost his mind. It had similarities to Melencho. Sadly, there is no cure for bitter winter. Bright sickness was a disease that Twi'leks were acceptable to that addled the mind. The only known cure of bright sickness is juices from the slick root, which is now illegal unless prescribed by a MedCorps officer or other medic on board the Venator. Catatonia was a medical condition characterized by the lack of activity in the conscious mind, leaving the body inert. The Chiss political agitator Sindra was rendered catatonic in encounter with Darth Xana, during which Xana attacked her with dark side illusions. Due to the high degree of mental and emotional integration exhibited by the communal intelligence, the Billa species, the death of the single member of a group was often enough to send his or her mates into catatonic state. Hallucinogens can cure catatonia, but have some mild effects on the side. Claustrophobia. Claustrophobia was an abnormal fear of having no escape or being stuck in cramped places. During the Clone Wars, it was reported that some of the Galactic Republic's clone troopers displayed symptoms of claustrophobia, a trait inherited from their genetic template, Jango Fett. Other known claustrophobes include a Jedi Knight Kira Carson, and to some extent the plant-developed specialist plea. The known cure for claustrophobia is to overcome your fear and learn that there is nothing wrong with enclosed spaces. Clone madness. If a clone was grown too quickly, the clone's mind would begin to deteriorate, leading to psychosis. The shortest time to normally grow a clone was 1 standard year. The reason for clone madness was a debated issue. Some scientists believe that it was because the body was grown too quickly and the brain being fed information could not handle the amount of data at such a rate. Others believe that it was due to a double presence the clone caused in the force. Cybernetic psychosis was a condition of insanity often experienced by users of cybernetic implants or Borg constructs. Essentially, the direct connection from the living brain to a computer system drove the cyborg insane over time, causing the victim to lose control over both cybernetic implant and mental facility. The onset of the condition was accelerated by prolonged connection to a computer system. Thus, the manufacturers of such devices recommend limited connection times. The only cure of cybernetic psychosis is removal of a cybernetic implant or Borg construct, whether it be a robotic arm or any other technology inside of the body. We recommend that robotic limbs are to be removed overnight when they are not being used. The Dark Plague. The Dark Plague was a Force-influenced disease developed by the Sith Lord Derek Morhage. Morhage used the plague to corrupt the minds of Jedi Masters across the galaxy, using them to fight the Jedi Order. Morhage was defeated, but during the Cold War, his spirit possessed the fallen Padawan Pakanas Tark, once again used a dark plague to corrupt the Order. Taking the name Vivica, Parganas Targ had learned the secrets of Mohaj's forced plague. This dark technique induced madness into those that Lord Vivica had known, and caused them to become puppets of the Sith Lord, including Durasvain's daughter, Larana. As his influence spread across the members of his former team, a young Jedi consular emerged to challenge Lord Vivica, a Padawan of Yuan Pa. This young consular learned an ancient shielding technique which could free of any Lord Vivica's influence. It was later used to free the Jedi Masters from Lord Vivica's control and made the consular immune against the plague. No cases of the Dark Plague have been found at this point of time. If one should arise, the Jedi Order should be alerted almost immediately. Deep sick. Deep sick was a condition describing the mental and emotional breakdown occurring in certain individuals who had been traveling in deep space for long periods of time. We prescribe a rest and a shrink to speak to. If this does not work, hallucinogens will be given at a generous rate. Multiple personality disorder. Multiple personality disorder, also known as split personality or dual personality, was a mental illness in which a being would develop one or more separate identities in addition to their original personality. These personality states would recurrently take control of that being's behavior and would differ from the host personality in characteristics and mannerisms. Sometimes the traits of an alter would be modeled after that of another individual's personality. The host may or may not be aware of the alternate personalities, and likewise for the alters to be aware of the host. Though the personality states could enter into conflict with each other, the condition typically would arise from the periods of severe stress or psychological trauma, and could affect Gans and humans in varying severity. I myself suffer from split personality. There is male Thorn and there is female Thorn. From time to time, during events, I will change. There are no cures for multiple personality disorder, but it is suggested that the patient seek a schizophrenia. Schizophrenia was a severe mental illness that was often characterized by delusions and hallucinations. Sufferers would sometimes demonstrate a proclivity to violent behavior. This condition could affect multiple species, such as Alina, Gans, and humans. There are no cures for schizophrenia as of yet, and we suggest that you send the patient to see a shrink. Space madness. Space madness was a mental condition that could affect scouts forced to operate in isolation for weeks at a time. To combat space madness, the New Republic's Bureau of Scouting and Exploration Services made sure that their frontier posts were equipped with the best entertainment and relaxation facilities. The cure for space madness is hallucinogens and a whole shit ton of fun. Give them the best time of their lives. Tulak Horde's Madness. Tulak Horde's Madness, also known as Tulak's Madness, was a mental affliction that was the result of Tulak's Horde's manipulation of the dark side of the Force in his artifacts. Many of Horde's artifacts drove their owners mad in the centuries after his death. The madness was unique in that it only affected the weak-willed and drove them to delusions of self-grandeur and ultimately self-destruction. There have been no reports of Horde's madness. Should arise, the Jedi Order must be alerted. And thank you for joining me and showing interest in MedCorps. This has been Mental Conditions Training, and I would like you to watch the second video. Thank you very much, and I hope you have a pleasant stay into the 9th Sunshine MedCorps, and also on AU Colossal Gaming, the #1 Star Wars RP server in Australia. Thank you.